This week's episode of Canal Crew will follow Bob and Lucy as they explore the 1800s to learn about the building of the Erie and Morris Canal. Also, stay tuned as we will be having a guest speaker later on in the episode. Historian Joe Smith will be joining us to teach us more about Buffalo's red light district.
First, we will be covering what essentially brought on mass production, what allowed those cool sneakers to be sold across the globe. The Market Revolution. How exciting. Bob, why don't you tell us more about the significance of the Market Revolution in American history?
Sure thing, Lucy. The Market Revolution is one of the most transformative events in America's past. Without it, most of us would probably still be small farmers cultivating crops to support our families, or skilled workers toiling in our homes. Don't even think about those cool sneakers if you don't live next door to the person who made them, or at least close by. The Market Revolution marks the early 1800s in the U.S. when new technology, transportation systems, and economic changes connected regional economies into a national market. During this period, innovations in agriculture and new technologies, such as the cotton gin and steamboats, fueled the growth of industries such as the textile industry in the North and facilitated international trade. But do you know what else the Market Revolution brought about? Besides mass production for these cool sneakers, canals.
Ooh, canals. My favorite is the Erie Canal, located in New York. What's yours?
As a New Jersey resident, my favorite is the Morris Canal.
Yeah, the Morris Canal is cool. But what do canals even do?
Canals are man-made waterways that are used as a water passage for boats using locks and hydraulic inclined planes. Come with me and we can see what people in the 19th century thought about canals.
Stay tuned as we travel back in time to 1809, where guest speaker Thomas Jefferson openly opposes the creation of a newly proposed canal, known as the Erie Canal, as a means of connecting the territories of the Northwest Ordinance to eastern seaboard markets.
Mr. Jefferson, what are your thoughts on building this canal?
Connecting the Great Lakes to Lake Erie is little short of madness. It would cost a huge amount of money to build a canal with 83 locks, taking boats 570 feet up in elevation.
But Madison, how do you feel about this canal? I agree with Mr. Jefferson. Spending money on our internal improvements is simply unconstitutional and should be left to the states.
Even with these criticisms, we wanted to hear all sides of the story, so we asked the hard-working New York governor, DeWitt Clinton, who started construction on the canal on July 14, 1817, to share his story. I first started by telling my workers, "All right, men, get to work. All we have are pickaxes and gunpowder, but we have a dream." In this interview, we learned that DeWitt Clinton fiercely led and encouraged these men, some of whom came from England and France, and had engineered some of the most complex canals to make a 363-mile-long, 40 feet wide, and 4 feet deep Erie Canal. It was a hefty project, costing $7 million. But regardless, opening day on October 26, 1825 was joyous.
How did you introduce this canal?
I remember telling the townspeople, "Welcome, welcome, one and all, to the Erie Canal. Today is a momentous day for our nation, as I will join the waters of the Hudson with the waters of Lake Erie." Clinton tells us that the crowd cheered, just having witnessed the creation of one of the most marvelous engineering feats in history.
Bob, this was an incredibly interesting innovation, but was it really impactful?
Well, I'm sure we'll find out if we interview some more people.
Come with Lucy and Bob as they interview people from an industrial society a few years later.
Mr. Clinton, what has this amazing canal done for society?
Well, young son, this canal has done plenty for society. New York, my very state, is now a leader in population, economic strength, and industry as a principal seaport. Tons of people want to settle here, and the Erie Canal has even been made into a national identity. Many of my men have been instructed on civil engineering, as well as my British and European friends, who brought some of their techniques from faraway places. Our hard work and determination, the American dream itself, have reinforced American culture, too.
Oh, but Mr. Clinton, that can't be all. This is an incredible work of art. Tell us more.
Well, my canal made it more comfortable to travel from Albany to Buffalo. No longer does it take youngins 2 weeks by coach, but 5 days by canal. There are also Midwestern farmers, miners, manufacturers, and loggers here. The Erie Canal also transports lots of immigrants who brought with them different languages, practices, and religions, such as spiritualists, Mormons, suffragists, and abolitionists.
That's fascinating. Hey, Mr. Clinton, can you explain your boats to our viewers?
Well, I thought you never ask. Our boats travel through an 83 lock system. To navigate through the lock system with our boats, get out the fenders, secure lines and boat hooks, and make sure to wear gloves while you do so. As a final measure, show the lock tender your registration.
Wow, what an efficient system.
I know, right? As soon as you see that green light, enter the lock. Otherwise, we just tie the ropes to the edge of the lock walls. All you have to do is wait for the water to rise, and then you're smooth sailing.
This is a very smart idea. You don't need any pumps, just gravity.
Before you go, there is one important thing I forgot to tell you about, and that is the Morris Canal.
Oh, that's my favorite because I'm from New Jersey.
Wonderful. The Morris Canal was actually inspired by the Erie Canal and was chartered just a few years after the Erie Canal was finished. You see, the Morris Canal and Banking Company wanted to transport coal from Pennsylvania to the eastern seaboard and, like our men, started to build a canal through rugged terrain until they reached New Jersey with the help of 23 inclined planes and canals. All along the way of the canal were iron districts and towns that have massive economic growth with the transport of coal, agricultural products, and 106 miles later, the Morris Canal was built.
Now I understand why it's your favorite canal, Bob. The Morris Canal helped many up-and-coming towns and was built on hard work. Just one final question, Mr. Clinton. You mentioned inclined planes. How do those work?
Inclined planes are very simple and work with locks to form the Morris Canal. They are very short railways that allow canal boats to go 100 feet in elevation in 15 minutes, which was much needed considering the slope of most of the journey was 18 feet per mile, whereas the Erie's was only 1 foot per mile. What an incredibly steep adventure. Anyways, hydraulic inclines used to operate on a system in which water was passed down from upper canals to lower canals and turned a wheel that spun to put water into pails to pass further down. This was all cleverly balanced by counterweights, but eventually the system was replaced by turbines that turned water into energy.
Thank you so much for the information, Mr. Clinton, but that is all the time we have for today.
It was great to hear your story. Hopefully our viewers at home find this fascinating.
Now, Bob and Lucy are discussing another important location with a special guest.
Lucy, I wanted to bring you to one more place before we end today's episode on the Canal Crew. That is the well-known area known as Buffalo's Red Light District.
Oh, cool. I've heard of that area before, but I don't really know anything about it.
We looked for others who know about the district to find out more. We interviewed historian Joe Smith, who knows everything someone can know about Buffalo's Red Light District.
Hi, Joe. Welcome to the Canal Crew. We are excited for you to be our guest speaker today. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about Buffalo's Red Light District? Sure. When I was learning about this district, I found it very helpful to look at this map of the district. I will show it to you now. Come take a look.
For our listeners at home, this is a detailed map showing the Red Light District in Buffalo in May 1893.
I have found that the best way to interpret the map is to understand the historical context behind it. Cities like Buffalo, which were along the canal, had become very busy commercial hubs filled with sailors, dock workers, traders, and travelers, thanks to the Erie Canal, which was still a major form of transportation and trade route at the time. These workers often supported entertainment districts that included saloons, theaters, and prostitution, which explains why such activities were concentrated near the canal.
But what does this really tell us about the Erie Canal?
The map shows us that although the Erie Canal boosted businesses, it also gave rise to ill-famed houses where there were lots of sex work and prostitution because workers would pass through this region, and businesses were developed to serve these travelers looking for food, alcohol, lodging, and adult entertainment. After hearing about all this information, I feel like this adds a social dimension to my understanding of the canal because it was not only about transportation and trade, but also about urban culture and social problems like morals involved with prostitution. It is also mind-boggling to me that this map shows exactly how densely populated similar businesses were at this time. Because the map shows that there were over 75 brothels and 108 saloons in a relatively small area.
I agree. I didn't know that Erie Canal was caused such complex cultural changes with these new towns. Thanks, Joe.
We appreciate all the information you had to share. Thank you.
Join us next time on Canal Crew for another interesting take on impactful waterways and canals. Bye bye!